my brothers and sisters. Hello. Welcome back to Soul Talk. Thank you so much for stopping by. I made a video yesterday, but I realized there was construction going on, so it might have been hard to hear, though I'm going to be honest, this is part of what this video is going to be about today, which is the fact that it's where I am in Southern California especially, it is really hard to find places and spaces untapped and untamed by man anymore. And I think all of the pollution that goes into the air with all the chemicals and I'm just looking at all these cars passing by. That's probably what you could hear in the background. You know, there's not much stillness in this world anymore. And anything that's being produced and created, like, it's for progress of continually feeding into this dark pyramid that we've all been kind of a part of, this this hamster wheel, this cycle of production, mass production, as if we don't have enough already. This world is overpopulated. It's hard to be an unconscious person when the facts are out there. They're everywhere now. We all know that climate change is a serious issue. One that most countries, governments still refuse to acknowledge, but for the most part, America, which we contribute so much to the devastation of this planet. And so what we truly need is a president who can fight for change, for true change, that can fight for our way of living. Because I read an article the other day, which I've come across several times before, but I actually allowed myself to sit with it this time, and it said that if we do not get control of what is happening to the environment, if we do not come up with a new Green Deal that will reduce our amount of waste, that will reduce the amount of fossil fuels that we're using, will reduce the amount of how much we're drilling into the planet for oil. If we don't get these things under control, we as human beings and life on this planet will cease to exist probably after 2050. That's what they look for. And honestly, if 2050, which is in 30 years, is when we go down, then that means in the next 10 years, everything that we know it as, this economy, this society, this way of living, is going to change. So either way, we're going to be faced with an apocalypse of sorts. If you're feeling like that's not a positive message, not an uplifting message, the only thing that I can tell you is that if you are feeling fear, don't feed the fears. If you as an individual know that you are doing everything that you can do as an individual to make this world a better place, then you're doing your part and there's nothing to be afraid of. However, if you know that there are ways that you could change your eating habits, stop consuming so much meat, and stop contributing to factory farming and dairy farming and the waste, if you're not recycling, if you're not doing what you can do to speak up about what is going on and raise awareness. If you know that there is more that you could be doing and you're not, then that is a reason for you to pay attention, to be more conscious of what you're doing, not to be afraid of it. There's more than enough people that have stuck their head in the sand for too long. We can't do that anymore. And truthfully speaking, like even within the conscious or spiritual community, our focus has been on how to handle our trauma and how to relate to each other and how to have better relationships. And for the most part, everybody's looking for a soulmate. And though our trauma is valid, so everything that we've gone through and everything that we grow through is absolutely valid. What is most important is what we do with our life here and now, because nothing of the past will matter if we don't have a future. That's just the way it is. That's the truth of it. What a lot of these workshops and spiritual gatherings will do is either paint a picture like everything is fine, like everything's perfect, like as long as you're positive. And positivity certainly does get you a long way, but authenticity gets you further. Knowledge is powerful, but wisdom is much more powerful. So have the wisdom enough to know that none of, the real conflict resolution, I'll just put it this way, if we're truly wanting constructive criticism, the real conflict resolution is letting go of the shit from the past. It's an unpopular opinion. Everybody wants to either go through it or hold on to it and not really process it, but to truly release the issues of the past, like the history of the planet and how we fought wars over apparent differences in religious beliefs and skin color and the dialect in which we speak in, and all of these issues won't matter if we're not here anymore. So what so-and-so did to you, whether it was your parents, whether it was your ex-boyfriend, whether it was your ex-wife, or whether it was your ex-best friend, or whether it was your boss, it just doesn't fucking matter anymore. We honor our experiences, sure, and we honor the path that we've been on. But your journey here and now, what you do with your today, is what matters. Now, I myself have gotten so caught in this loop of what has happened to me and how it affected me and how it damaged my psyche. And, it's a thing that we have to do, is to be so committed to our growth that when we get triggered, we pay attention to it and we process it, and the moment we acknowledge it and we go through it and we can find out where it comes from. Okay, but then what do you do when you get there? Send it love and release it. Don't keep holding on to it and telling the same story over and over again. What we need to focus on is how the hell are we going to save our lives here, and not the lives that we're living now. Because the truth of it is that if you want to really thrive in the time that we have here, if you want to really not just survive but thrive, you have to be willing to go on the outside and be the outsider, be the misfit, be the black sheep, be the weird one. You have to be willing to throw caution to the wind and not have a perfectly secure plan. You have to be willing, we have to be willing not to go with the status quo, because I'm speaking from my own personal experience as well. I have found myself trying to assimilate, and that's not what we need for ourselves. That's not what others need from us, and if that is what they need, then we allow them to leave and release them from our lives. We explain this is my truth, this is my virtue, and as long as I'm not hurting anyone, I'm not going to change it. So we have to be willing to see the ways in which alternative living is the smartest decision. So living in a camper, living in a van, traveling, living in a backpacking, going backpacking, to put yourself out there so far away from the norm is the healthiest thing to do. That's the most well-adjusted thing to do. There is nothing wrong with someone wanting to be on the outside of a society that is sick anyways. There's nothing wrong with you. If you have a problem with the way things are going, great, that means that you're conscious enough. And if you think, well, it's too painful, the realities of it, that's a part of the illusion, is that we can't handle it. We are never given anything that we can't handle. We all chose these experiences in this life, and that may be hard to wrap your mind around, but ultimately it doesn't matter what your belief systems are. Everything happens for a reason, and sometimes that reason is it's shit, and we have to find a way to make it better. Because that is how we learn, that is how we grow. So we are in this situation now because more than enough people on this planet have ignored their spiritual journey, have done too much spiritual bypassing, have not taken accountability for the wars that have been fought within themselves and within this world. And we need to send to the core of the planet, Mother Gaia, I am so very sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you for all the destruction that we have created on this planet, all the pain that we have caused. To be an earth warrior and a warrior of light is to stand up for the earth and say, I am not going to allow any more suffering to take place anymore. I am going to change things by being love, by loving myself through everything. Every situation that I could respond or could react with anger, with sadness, with jealousy, with fear, I will respond with love. This is to be a warrior of light. This is to be an earth volunteer. To be an earth volunteer is to stand up and say, no more. This ends with me. This stops here and now. I will not let it go any further. I will not be a part of the problem. I will be a part of the solution. So this is a call out. Who's truly willing to be authentic here and stop worrying about stepping on toes? Stop worrying about rocking the boat. If you want to leave your 9-to-5 job, leave it, because then you won't have to. If you get rid of your apartment, you no longer need to pay rent, which means that if you no longer need to pay rent, you don't have to work a conventional job in a conventional way, and you can let those things go. Because in these small little societies, in these little people stories, in these little people dreams that we have, where we truly believe that we are human beings having an infinite experience, when really we are infinite beings having a human experience at the moment, if we can truly get past all of that and see that there is so much beauty here, and there's so much that we can do. Because pretty soon, if the apocalypse goes on, we're going to have to find out how to do all of these things anyway. So you might as well do it now and free yourself and liberate yourself. Find out where the natural sources of water are. Find out where the highest ground is. Find out who in your community has land and wants to build a community. Find out the different places and spaces that you can go and contact Congress, contact your governors, contact your public officials, and put in your word. Stand up. Don't be afraid to stand up and use your roar. This Lionsgate portal that just opened up, it happens every year, and so it's not necessarily a special thing, but it is. Each full moon, each transit period, each new moon, it doesn't matter. What happens is that it is a transit period. It is divine intervention. It is an opportunity from the divine for you to shift things again, for you to shift into a different place. If you feel like you don't know who you are anymore and where you're going, that's okay. If you feel like you're becoming a different person, but you don't really understand that person yet, that's all right. You're going through an alchemical mutation. I'm going through it as well. You have to be willing to meet different parts of us. We are always meeting different parts of us that we haven't met before. And if we're not doing that, then we are stagnant. And if we are stagnant, then we're dying. Because let me tell you, we adapt to survive. That is the human nature. The human nature is to be wild and free, to open up. So embrace your wild woman. Embrace your wild man. Get down in the dirt. Climb a freaking tree. Speak to somebody. Speak to your neighbor. Be honest. Don't just talk about the weather. Talk about the state of the freaking world right now. Talk about the fact that we need to be in a place of harmony together. We need to work together. Find out how you can do that. Go and look at permaculture farms so you can find out how to grow your own food. And I say this because these are all within everything that I'm working towards. And another part of it is gathering of the tribes. We need to bring back a time where we had real tribal experiences together. I'm not just talking about the fact that you have to paint your face and wear no clothing. You do it as you. But be true. Be true to you and who you are, right? A tribe is a family. A tribe is a village of people that are willing to gather together to live their highest truth, to live their highest experience. You are safe in the light that you are. You are protected in the light that you are. And if you are true to yourself and you do not cause harm on yourself or anyone else, I promise you, you're gonna be okay. No matter what happens. Even if we do see the end of our days, if we can pan out of this human experience and see that it's just a human experience, it's so fleeting, but we are infinite beings, we will find a way to experience. Energy is never dissipating. It is always changing form. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of death. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of letting things die in your life. Don't be afraid of evolving, of picking up things and starting something new. When you feel defeated, know that you can get back up again. When you feel so deep and down and lost in your shadow, know that you are not your shadow, that you are your light. And that someone in the world sees you and appreciates you and loves you. And I can speak for myself when I say I am one of them. Even if I'll never meet you, I know that there are more than enough of you out there who have hearts that need to be touched, like I have a heart that needs to be touched, that has a heart that beats for the beings on this planet, that has a caring soul, that knows that none of us deserve to suffer, that we deserve more than this, that we can be more than this. I stand with you. You are not alone. I hope you have a beautiful day and night. Bye-bye.